grew up with her. They're all in the same age cohort. And then I have two younger ones who viewed her almost as like the fun aunt who would come to visit. By the time they were born, she'd already gone off to college. So they all grieve very differently. I love that they are still talking with counselors and processing. We talk about our grief in open spaces. And so they are finding their way through this to deal with grief and survive.
I could not do justice to this book in these 30 minutes, but I do appreciate the time that April had to give us today. The book is called By the Time You Read This, The Space Between Tavis Smiley and Mental Illness, her story in her own words. So the book is co-authored, which I think that's the most beautiful part, April, for me. When I got the book some time ago and had a chance to read it in preparation for our conversation, I love that it lists on the cover the authors, Chesley Chris and April Simpkins. And it was just a beautiful thing to see your names together as co-authors on this text. And I've enjoyed the opportunity and appreciate the chance to talk to you about it. I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Unapologetically progressive. Unapologetically black. You're tapped into Tavis Smiley.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Closing arguments start today in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial in New York City. Trump's defense team is expected to go first, and then prosecutors will give their closing arguments. Deliberations could start as soon as tomorrow. A jury is trying to decide whether Trump falsified business records to cover up alleged hush money payments made to an adult film star just prior to the 2016 election. In Maryland, 103-year-old World War II veteran William Billy Keyes attended the Orioles Memorial Day game at Camden Yards in Baltimore. During the war, Keyes was a member of the primarily African-American 761st Tank Battalion known as the Black Panthers, who liberated 30 towns and a Jewish concentration camp. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Need money for the holidays? Avoid the yikes before Christmas. Hurry into Jackson Hewitt for a holiday loan on your tax refund, up to $1,000. Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Is this the This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Congratulations to the Grambling State University baseball team. They won the SWAC tournament to qualify for the NCAA Division I tournament. Grambling has a first-round matchup Friday against Texas A&M in the College Station Regional. Grambling is the only HBCU school in the NCAA baseball tournament. The Tigers are looking for their first NCAA baseball tournament win. Despite a health scare Sunday on a flight from Miami to L.A., Mike Tyson is still planning to fight Jake Paul on July 20th in Arlington, Texas. The 57-year-old Tyson needed medical attention at LAX after having symptoms of nausea and dizziness on the flight. Tyson is gearing up for his first fight since 2005. The Boston Celtics are in the NBA Finals for the second time in 3 years. They swept Indiana in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics await the winner of the Dallas-Minnesota series in the Western Conference. No debates, no speculation. speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Are you interested in catching up on all the latest entertainment news, trending topics, and exciting interviews? I got you. Tune in to The Raw Report with Robin Ayers, Monday through Friday, 6 to 7 p.m. I'm your host, Robin Ayers. Join me every weekday with some of the best entertainment contributors in the business as we break down what's going on, who's got next, and what not to miss. Only on The Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
I'm going out with the girls this weekend. Nails done, outfit stunner, and my skin? I know it's going to be glowing because I glammed up my shower routine with new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. It smells so luxurious and moisturizes deep into my skin with its super rich, creamy lather that's bursting with vitamin B3. So my skin glows and my confidence grows. Try new Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash for glowing skin in just 14 days.
Who do you trust to get at the truth? Tavis Smiley. That's who. The conversation continues right now.
It does indeed. We thank April Simpkins for that insightful and inspiring conversation about her daughter and her work ongoing and the need that we have in our community more than any other, seems to me, to be more forthright about mental illness and its impact on those who we love. As promised now, a conversation with Jacqueline Patterson, Time Woman of the Year and founder of the Chisholm Legacy Project. We'll talk about her revolutionary approach to climate justice as part of our continuing year-long series on this program and in advance of our historic Climate Justice Symposium, featuring an all-star roster of brilliant black thinkers and climate change makers like Jacqueline, who will join us live here in Los Angeles at the California Science Center, June the 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern, for a 3-hour symposium on C-SPAN. I get asked all the time, when you going back on C-SPAN with those symposia and all those brilliant black people? Well, we're back. June the 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. That's wrong. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. It's 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific time. It's 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Correction. 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. That's prime time. You see, that's the bias of being on the West Coast here. It is 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, 4 to 7 p.m. Pacific time, live on C-SPAN. Now that I've said that, Jacqueline, good to have you on, and congrats on the Time Woman of the Year. That's high cotton, as we say around here.
Thank you. It was overwhelming, but appreciate it. Thank you.
No,
it's a pleasure to be with you.
No, I can only imagine. I've been on the Time 100 list, but you are the Time Woman of the Year. That's a really big deal. So I celebrate that, and more importantly, I celebrate the work that you are doing. Let me jump right in and make the most of the time we have here, Jacqueline. Tell me about the Chisholm Legacy Project.
Yeah, the Chisholm Legacy Project, as it's named after Shirley Chisholm.
Oh, yeah.
And we really are, yes, following in her footsteps. as we thought about calling it the Folding Chair Initiative, because it's all about getting a seat at the table for
Yeah.
our communities. Yeah. So we really work with communities that are often invisibilized by society, communities like Sam Branch, Texas, which hadn't had running water since the mid-'80s, even though it's 14 miles outside of Dallas, one of the richest cities in the world. Communities like Allen in Maryland, where the median household income is $7,000, $7,416. And so places where if a hurricane comes through, if a tornado comes through, if they're hit by disasters on top of the conditions that they're living in terms of not necessarily having the resilient infrastructure to withstand a disaster, or communities where day by day, even in a land of abundance, there's no access to healthy foods or and so forth, and communities where they're inundated with pollution. These are the communities that we want to make sure have a seat at the table.
Yeah. Before we get too deep into this, for those who didn't get that reference or haven't heard the reference to folding chair, you said you could have named this the Folding Chair Initiative. For those who don't know Shirley Chisholm and that story, tell it right quick about the folding chair.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So Shirley Chisholm's, one of her mottos was, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. And so that is, yes.
Yeah, I love that story. For those who saw the movie, and by the way, Regina King did an amazing job in that film about the life and legacy of Shirley Chisholm. Regina was just amazing. But that comes up, of course, in the film. But for those who know anything about Shirley Chisholm, you know that folding chair reference. They don't give you a seat, bring you a folding chair, and just take you a seat at the table. And so I love that. Let me just ask you this. Given all the work that you are doing to push this issue of climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience higher on the American agenda, certainly the African American agenda. What do you make of the following? Let me frame it this way. I was just literally having this thought earlier today. There is not these days, I mean this literally, there is not these days a single day that goes by, given all the stuff that I read, to try to be as prepared for this 3-hour show every day as I can be. There's not a single day that I read all the stuff that I read where I don't see myriad articles about something under the climate umbrella. This issue has become so hegemonic that every single day it's written about somewhere in the media that I read, the mainstream media that I read, the corporate media that I read. What troubles me, and one of the reasons why we're doing this year-long series on climate justice or climate in the black community, one of the reasons why we're doing the C-SPAN conversation June 18th, one of the reasons why we're doing all of this is because I believe, as I've said many times, that black media is more relevant and more necessary now than ever before. Because we got to carry the water on the things that matter to our community when the corporate media doesn't do it. So I get troubled. I'm not at all depressed by it. I'm animated. I'm motivated to do what I'm doing, and you've been doing it longer and better than most. But I'm troubled by the fact that this issue of climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience has not yet made its way on our docket the way it is even in the mainstream media. And oftentimes I've got a serious critique of the mainstream media. But in this regard, this issue is being covered more and more and more every day. But it hasn't become that topic in black media, in black television, in black radio, in black print. That's what troubles me, and that's why I'm so aggressively moving in the way that I am, because I understand, as you know better than I, that it's our people who are the disproportionate victims of these climate catastrophes, these climate maladies, these hurricanes, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm trying to, again, so I'm doing what I can. But what say you about the fact, that's a long way of asking, what you say about the notion that it hasn't yet become the issue in our community that it ought to become?
Yeah, thank you. I think that the interesting thing is that when you add up all the issues that are in our communities and you don't use the word climate change, they all add up to, so many of them add up to this intersection with climate change. And I would love if, as you say, as you've done, as you've modeled, if folks in the media could actually help to to frame that narrative for our communities, because a lot of times if we go into a community, we might say, what do you think about climate change? Oh, that's about polar bears. That's not about us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk about, what about food access? Yeah, we don't have a grocery store nearby. What do you think about water access? How's your fishing going? Oh yeah, we don't get as many fish in the sea as we get before. My child has asthma. Like, all the things that they actually talk about that are things that they do care about, that they're dealing with, are related to climate, but very few people have made that link for them. When I was with the NAACP, I did a workshop on Climate Justice 101, and people walked out and they're like, wow, we see completely how this relates to our communities. But when we saw that on the agenda, we thought you were going to be talking about the climate of workplace discrimination or the climate of injustice in the world. Yeah, it was very interesting. It didn't even compute as part of the NAACP agenda until we broke it down, and all that was relatable for them.
Yep.
So
this term pops into my head as you're talking, Jacqueline, the term of climate deniers. Now, we know that we have these folk on the right, but the political right, who really are climate deniers. Put another way, they just deny the science. One could argue that black people are sadly climate deniers, not because we deny the science, but we deny or are ignorant of the impact it's having on our community. But I don't think we're deniers in the way that those folk on the right are. I just think for some reason we have not as yet been enlightened. That's my view. What's yours?
Yeah, I do hear you on that. I've seen either we haven't been in the know, or we've had the wrong people in our ears. Like the fossil fuel industry.
Say that again. I like that line. Say that again.
Yeah, I was saying either we're in denial or we have the wrong people in our ears.
Wow.
Recently. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the fossil fuel industry has invested millions to infiltrate our communities and get us to be the instrument of our own demise by really putting forth this false narrative around climate change, around what's driving climate change and so forth. And then they couple that with money for the school children, money for the Freedom Fund Bank with the NAACP. And it's a conditioning that they're intentionally doing to some of our community members and some of the most vulnerable communities where they're doing this. And so it gets real tough. We had someone who was trying to build a landfill on top of a water aquifer, and they offered this very, very impoverished community $10,000 a year as kind of they're like, we're a new neighbor. We want to support you, and we also want you to support us. And so, and the community came to us, and they came to us as NAACP. We like, of course we're going to approve this through our legal department. The legal department comes to me, and I said, did you look at this blueprint? They actually want to build it on a water aquifer. And they're like, but they want to help the children. I'm like, they're also going to poison the children.
No, hold that thought. I want to come to that in just a moment, because Jacqueline is she's preaching now. I want to talk about the conditioning and the exploitation of our community. We will take they'll give us a check, or they'll buy a couple tables at our banquet. You know how this works. And in the process, we're being conditioned and we're being exploited around these issues of climate. Who would know better than she? Her name is Jacqueline Patterson. She's the Time Woman of the Year and the founder of the Chisholm Legacy Project. I'm honored to have her right now on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
My mom has taken up going to the park. to practice yoga. My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hi, Tavis Smiley here. We're getting closer to June 18th, and time is running out for you to register to join us for our historic symposium live on C-SPAN, Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com right now if you want to be in the audience when the nation will see for the first time ever a stage full of brilliant black folk talking about the urgency of now. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's all going down. Well, it's actually all going up. Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. live from the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Again, admission is free, but we're filling up fast. So if I were you, I would log on right now to KBLA1580.com to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. We're KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Hi, this is Quentin. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, crispy, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu. Especially when you add in that Chick-fil-A sauce. Always the perfect combination. And then personally, you know me, I'm getting a 4 count. I want as much chicken as possible. I'm that guy. Whenever I get them, whether it be lunch or for dinner, in my household, it's always a winner.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
Smart talk for curious people just like you. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley, but you're also listening to Jacqueline Patterson, who's the Time Woman of the Year. Big deal. It's a really big deal, and founder of the Chisholm Legacy Project. I'm honored to have you on this program. It's part of our continuing series all year long about climate and the community. Jacqueline, you were getting on a roll, and I hated to interrupt you, but tell me more about the ways in which our community, the black community, for too long has been conditioned and exploited by those who are pushing a particular agenda that is antithetical to our best interest.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I mean, boy, the stories just are way too many. We wrote a report when I was at the NACP called Fossil Fueled Foolery, and actually a couple of reports on this, where we talked about the ways that the industry has manipulated our communities while polluting our communities. And also, on the other end, I want to make sure I point out that there are the communities that are standing up against this. The attempts at manipulation. We know folks like Adora Obi and Wazy, who really woke up to the fact that this is what these companies were doing, and she's in Florida, and she took a pledge to take no more money from fossil fuel industries companies for the work, even though she very much needed it for her work. But she again, in the words of Shirley Chisholm, unbought and unbossed. She declared herself unbought and unbossed going forward. So people across the country have said, no more to this attempts of manipulation. Communities that are now growing their own food, that are generating their own energy, coming off of the fossil fuel grid and growing their own and developing their own energy projects through solar microgrids, like Highland Park in Michigan outside of Detroit. So there's so many to name, but communities are turning around, recognizing what's happening, recognizing that we have to take the lead on climate justice, because it's even our traditional and cultural practices that are the key to the way that we need to live in harmony with the earth, so that we don't actually have climate change impacting us. And if our communities are in the lead in decision-making positions, then we know that we're moving in the right direction. But I'll stop there.
No. In our remaining moments with Jacqueline Patterson, more about the fight back against this manipulation, this conditioning, and this exploitation. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company.
Let's get back to more of Tavis Smiley right now.
Got about 4 minutes left here with Jacqueline Patterson. Let me squeeze out a few things with her. One, Jackie, let me start with this. What does, you gave some examples of what the fight back looks like, but what does it really take in a moment like this for communities of color to push back against these behemoths, these massive entities, organizations, powerful multinationals who are trying to have their own way?
A couple things. One, we need to actually legislate getting money out of politics, because part of our challenge now is the fact that they hold so much sway over the folks in elected office. So they're the ones that make it so that we have, after the BP oil spill, they use Corexit, which is a dispersant that is banned in 90 countries worldwide. But because we have such a lock on, because of groups like the American Chemical Association, we have such a lock on what appears on the toxics release inventory or the toxic control substance, then we don't even have regulations over things that could actually kill us. And so whether it's the coal that comes out of the smoke that comes out of the coal stacks or the stuff that they use to disperse oil spills, because the fossil fuel industry is controlling so much of our legislation, again, we have very little to hold back the polluters and the pollution that's driving climate change. So that will have to put the power in the hands of the people. So when we all go to the polls and we're voting, we have to make sure that our votes really count versus being overtaken by these by corporate interests.
Speaking of voting, I asked this question of all of our guests, or certainly most of them. I indeed want to ask it of you, given what you've just said now about voting. What's your read of how good or not so good Joe Biden has been for black people, particularly on environmental issues?
Yeah, well, certainly the $1 trillion in investment that's coming through for energy and other infrastructure for climate has been a game changer, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that 40% of those funds are carved out to go specifically to disadvantaged communities is extremely important. The fact that there has been a successful blockage of the permits for a major fossil fuel infrastructure, it's called the Calcico Pass down in Louisiana, is significant. There's been some critical advancements under the administration, but there's, again, so much more that needs to be done to continue to block the fossil fuel build-out.
Yeah. Finally, then, in the months and years to come, how hopeful are you that we can turn the tide against this, or is the damage done already irreparable in this regard?
We're getting to the point of irreparability. Definitely the countdown is on, yeah. So we have to act very swiftly and very stridently in terms of, again, locking off fossil fuel proliferation, and, as they say, keeping it in the ground. That's the only way we're going to be able to turn it around. So we need to really gather that political will and the political power. As Marcus Garvey says, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. And so if we do that, I'm Jamaican, so I always got to rep Garvey.
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad about that. But and it's a great line. I love it. Up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. You never get in trouble quoting Marcus Garvey around these parts. I ain't mad at you, Jacqueline Patterson. She is the Time Woman of the Year and the founder of the Chisholm Legacy Project, doing some amazing work, some revolutionary work in this climate justice fight, and I'm honored to have her on this program. Jacqueline, all the best to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. You too. See you next month.
All right. Stay strong. See you then. When we come forward, a conversation with Mark Curry. We'll get our laugh on for the last hour. It's been a serious show today, but let's laugh a little bit. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Closing arguments start today in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial in New York City. Trump's defense team is expected to go first, and then prosecutors will give their closing arguments. Deliberations could start as soon as tomorrow. A jury is trying to decide whether Trump falsified business records to cover up alleged hush money payments. World War II veteran William Billy Keyes attended the Orioles Memorial Day game at Camden Yards in Baltimore.